Hello everybody, my name is Daulton Nelson and today I'd like to give my thoughts on a game I just beat. That game being Mafia 3 for the PS4. Mafia 3 is an open-ended third-person shooter developed by Hangar 13 Games, or also known as 2K Czech, and published by 2K Games. Mafia 3 is a game I never really wanted to play, but when the game was offered for free to PS Plus users, I picked it up because I at least remember the short buzz around this title before everything grew quiet for this game. So, I went into Mafia 3 curious as to why this game was so forgotten, and why players don't say a word about Mafia 3 despite the game supposedly being one of 2K's best-selling games in the publisher's history. The beginning of Mafia 3, despite its overabundance of cutscenes, is actually pretty exciting and sets a good mood for the game. That is, until the boat escape scene, where you'll realize how much the driving in this game sucks. But moving on, after that is the inciting incident of the game, where the protagonist, Lincoln Clay, loses what is essentially his family to the mobsters that they were working for. After this, Mafia 3 devolves into your basic revenge tale, where Lincoln destroys the mobsters, called the Marcanos, from the bottom up until only Sal Marcano, the mob boss, is left. The story tries to act like it's something more, that it's about how much of a monster Lincoln is, and how he brought terror upon the city of New Bordeaux, but it's really not. Lincoln is actually a pretty noble character throughout the game, and you can understand and relate to his motivations. In fact, I thought the character writing all around was pretty good. There's a colorful cast of people throughout the game you'll meet. So I think the developers knew they wrote such a character within Lincoln because they try to force his evil change at the very end of the game with the cartoonish way he kills Sal and the subsequent endings of the game. And you heard me right there, endings. There are multiple endings to the game, and the way you get them is just by making one choice at the very end of the game. Nothing else you do really affects this. It is worth talking about the cutscene that ends the game off, because it's not with Lincoln. It's with his friend, John Donovan, who reveals at the very end that the Marcanos were actually behind the JFK assassination. Donovan then goes on in the cutscene to kill a US senator and just walk out of the building with no security or anything trying to stop him. This is a really crappy way to end this game. There is no way I can take anything Hangar 13 was trying to do within the story seriously at this point. But apart from the story, there's also how Mafia 3 controls. Right from the start, you'll notice that moving is awkward. Lincoln's turning is really sluggish. The camera always feels as if it's too close to Lincoln, so shootouts start to feel claustrophobic. And speaking of shooting, it's okay, but there's never any need to change the weapons you get in the beginning of the game. The difficulty never rises except for the amount of enemies in a given area, but they can be whittled down with the stealth mechanics in the game. These stealth mechanics include sneaking around and executing silent kills. This is by far the best way to go about an area full of enemies, but that's because the health system within Mafia 3 leaves the player vulnerable to only a few shots before Lincoln dies. The health system works like this. The player starts out with 2 health bars. If the player gets hurt, they have to find somewhere safe to not get shot again until their health regenerates. However, your health will only regenerate up to the maximum value of the current health bar you're on. So, if you lose 1 health bar completely, you can only regenerate to the only health bar you have left. And health bars deplete pretty quickly. As I said, it only takes a few shots for Lincoln to die. So majority of the game was spent with me losing all but 1 health bar as soon as I entered any shootout. There is a healing option in the game with the adrenaline shots you can get, but you can only find these in these first aid kits that are mounted to the walls, and finding one of these can be pretty difficult at times. I rarely had adrenaline shots with me because I didn't want to spend time finding one shot that would most likely be used and then spent within the first few minutes of a shootout. Lincoln can also do other things within the game, but I really want to focus on the driving within Mafia 3. The driving is just as awkward and as hard to grasp as Lincoln's movement. Most cars turn with a large radius and take a bit before they even can come to a complete stop. Unfortunately, driving is what you'll be doing most within the game, so expect a frustrating time as you go to and from objectives. Mafia 3 also suffers from a myriad of technical problems. I noticed things like lights taking seconds to adjust properly, things popping in and out of existence, whether they be close or far. The sky at one point started glitching into these jittering lines, and I had to restart my game just to fix that. There was even a moment at the end of the game where a road was just missing a texture. It was just a solid color. But by far the worst thing within Mafia 3 is the core gameplay loop. It goes like this. You go to a new district. You maybe talk to Donovan. You talk to an informant about a mob boss within the district. You go around the area completing these mini objectives. As soon as you complete these objectives, a monetary value will go down. Once you do enough challenges to bring the value down to 0, go talk to the informant again. Now, go and confront the mob boss. After confronting the mob boss, go talk to the other informant in the same district. Repeat the steps again until you take down the second mob boss. Once he's taken down, go take down the district boss. And once that's done, move on to the next district, and do that all over again. This loop really stretches the game out, and makes the whole experience feel like monotonous busy work. There's much more wrong with the game that I'm leaving out here, but I really want to be done with this game. I didn't really have an enjoyable time, and I'd rather just move on. So I'm going to give Mafia 3 a final score of a 3 out of 10. If I have any hope, it's that this game's success will have Hangar 13 bring a better game without the eventual sequel of this game, but given the current trends within the industry right now, I do not have much confidence within Hangar 13's next venture. That concludes my review of Mafia 3. If you liked my review, you can like, comment, or subscribe. I also have social media links down in the description below, as well as a link to my Portfolum, where you can see video game design works that I have done. And with that out of the way, please make sure to have a good day.